Hello friends, my name is Shivam from Devops Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Using deployment API, what we can do is a deployment API is an declarative update for pod and replica sets. Using deployment API, we can do a declarative update for pod and replica set. So you describe and desired state in a deployment, and the deployment controller changes the actual state to a desired state. When you should use the deployment API? First, you want to create a deployment to roll out a replica set. So when we say create a deployment to roll out a replica set, suppose I want to make currently I deployed one single pod. After deploying one single pod, I want to make it highly available. So I need to increase the replica count from 1 to 2 or 4, whatever you want. So in that type of scenario, we can use it. Declare the new state of the pod. When we say new state of the pod, so like you are running version 1 of your application. Later on, you deploy version 2. So in that type of scenario, you can use deployment API. And there is a benefit with the deployment API. Like currently, I'm running a pod with version 1, and I have increased the replica count to 3 or 4. So all these 4 pod are running on version 1. Now, if all these 4 pod are running as version 1, and suddenly I want to, I have created an version 2 also, means I have applied some patches. So what deployment API will do? First, it will launch this version 2. First, it will launch the second version and do health checkup that this version 2 is running fine or not. If it is fine, working fine, there I have defined a rollout strategy. A rollout strategy I have defined like rollout strategy 25%. So if I define a rollout strategy of 25%, what it will do is first it will deploy that version 2, check that health is fine. Then it will replace this first pod. Then it is going to replace the second pod. Then it is going to replace the third pod. Then it is going to replace the fourth pod, like that. It is going to replace one by one. so that what will happen is that at a time all the pod will not go down, and you will have an always an highly available environment, because version 2 they have done the health checkup and everything. There will be no issue with any of this version. Clear? Understand the update strategy. Yeah.
Can you repeat once?
Like, I have an app, and the first version of my app I have deployed, okay, 4 times. In that app, I have defined a definition that replication should be 4 times. Okay. So the app is now running as I have defined replication as 4. So it will deploy 4 pod with the similar app. Is it clear?
Yep.
Now, what happened is that after a few days, we added a new feature. So a version 2 pod comes into picture. After getting this version 2, okay, I want to update this previous version 1 to version 2. So when I do an update strategy, okay, by default, it is taking rollout strategy of 25%. You can make it 50% also. If you make it 50%, so we have 4 pods. So at a time, it is going to replace 2 pod. Okay. So what I will do is I will put the version 2. So what Kubernetes will do, it will first deploy this version 2 in my first it will deploy the version 2, do an health checkup that my version 2 is running fine or not. Once it finds that my version 2 is running smoothly, then it is going to replace one by one with my version 2. Yeah. Understand what is rolling out strategy?
No, this is the canary type of deployment. Yeah, it's blue-green.
It is simple rollout strategy. Okay. Canary is different and blue-green deployment is different. I'm coming on that. What is canary or blue-green deployment?
But here, example, any application version V1, V2 versions are there. Okay, and you have multiple instances of V1 version already running. Now you need to replace with V2 version. So how it will work here?
By default, in deployment strategy, I have put rollout strategy as 25%. Okay. When I update my deployment with new version, it is automatically going to replace the previous one. Okay.
So out of 4 pods, 1 pod will replace with new version because we have given 25% on it, right?
Yeah. Once it is up and running, then it is going to replace the second version, second pod. Then it is replace the third pod, and then it is replace the fourth pod.
Okay, and take example, 4 pods are running automatically. 1 pod and 4 pods, 4 container within a pod is running. 1 container of any application becomes down. How Kubernetes will take care that automatically?
By default, Kubernetes do not take care of this. You need to enable health checkup on your pods. Okay. You need to enable probes. We call it probes. Okay. In your pod. By default, it is not taking care of anything.
any concept called replica set is there where we make it no like that?
Always create replica set as one. When you are deploying, always create replica set as minimum one. Okay. When you are deploying anything on Kubernetes, always make replica set as one, so that in case of failure of one single pod, it automatically informs the worker node wherever it is working. It automatically informs the master node that it is down. So it is going to restart that pod, or not restart, it is like going to launch a new pod for you.
Gopal, I have a couple of queries here. So the
Yes.
first one is like you've mentioned like 4 different pods with the same replicas, right? So 4 times, which means like it will be in 4 different servers, or it will be in 4 different sites. So
It can be on 4 different server. It can be on same 2 pods are running in one server, 2 pods are running in another 2 server. Let Kubernetes decide. Okay, if you do anti-affinity, okay, if you do anti-affinity that my pod should run like this is your master machine, this is your some of the worker node, and if I do anti-affinity that my pod should always run on this particular machine only. But if this machine goes down,
the other one will take over, right?
if this machine goes down, I put that my pod should run on this particular machine. Okay. So if this machine goes down, the pod will never come up. Okay.
Correct.
So let's Kubernetes decide where it need to be run, because Kubernetes master machine has all the information about all the worker node where your containers are running. Okay. And you can it automatically redeploy it different machines.
Right. So the I mean, I get that point. Like, let Kubernetes decide where the container should run and stuff. But the other question what I have is like, so in case of one write that is happening on one container, how that write is it going to be parallel writes on all the 4 containers, or it is going to be one container is going
No,
to get...
while in storage, Kubernetes has a concept of persistent volume. In storage, you can put a concept: read, write once, read, write many. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want that at a time one pod can write, so read write once. If you want that at a time all the pods can write, put read write many. Okay. In the volume, they have a concept of read write once or read write many. So the storage at a time can be locked by one single pod.
Okay. No. Sorry. I'm trying to. I'm getting confused or something like that. So just trying to understand like how a data in one container is being synchronously replicated or asynchronously replicated to the other
See, in
container.
container technology, we will not use the local volume. Okay. It will be network file system. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
We will never use. So same volume will be attached in multiple places.
Okay. Now I get you. Okay. Fine.
Never
I was
use in
thinking.
container, never use the local volume. Okay. That's your system storage.
Okay. Sure. I was thinking. I was letting it to the SAN methodology. So that's the reason I was asking. I was trying to
No, no,
get.
no. Always use NFS volume, because container can easily be mapped to any of the NFS volume.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Good. Any more questions?
Gopal, I have a question. So let's say, we have a new feature which is deployed and they have monitored, check, and everything is good. But let's say, after a few days, something is went back, and we wanted to roll back to the previous the deployment. What would be, what in this scenario, what is the backup like?
This
Do we have
deployment API has a concept called as rollback to an earlier deployment revision. You can roll back immediately, okay, to the previous version. We'll do an exercise on that.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
You can roll back immediately to a previous version. That is possible. Revision 1 to revision 2. I have talked about rollout strategy of 25%. You can make it 50%. If you make it 50% at a time, 2 pods are going to be replaced. What is blue-green deployment?
So it is like testing in one environment, and if it is good, we make it as prod, and we make the other one as a testing.
Blue-green deployment means, one is already in pod and another one is in testing. Like version 1 is in pod, that is it's in green, and blue means it's in testing.
Currently, all the traffic via load balancer is going to version 1. Okay. So if you want to do blue-green deployment, you have to do it through a load balancer. Okay. Later on, when the version 2 comes, you just need to divert the traffic from there to this version 2. Okay. Here. Is it right? Blue-green deployment is something like this. Yes or no?
Yes, correct.
Just I need to divert the traffic, okay, from the load balance. So deployment API is one of the interesting thing you have it in Kubernetes. Let's create one deployment. So when we write down the YAML file, what will be the first thing will come into picture?
Version.
It should be API version, is it right? But for deployment, the API has been changed. It is called as apps/v1. Kind should be deployment. The name of the deployment metadata. I call this as Nginx deployment. I'll create a labels. I will tell you about what is labels, why we are creating it. Label name can be given anything. I called it IAM :Nginx. I will define the specification. In specification, I will define replicas, 3, selector. I'll explain you what is this. Match lib els labels. Next. Yes. I have uploaded that deployment.yaml file. Please apply it and check using. After applying, you can use kubectl get deploy. Or you can use watch kubectl get deploy. And press once it is being deployed, 3 by 3 it is showing Control C. Just do it. I will explain you what this has done. The GitHub link is there now. Yesterday I have used it.
We got done in the master node, right?
Everything, forget about worker node.
Okay.
Worker node is like worker only. Okay, we never remember our worker. Did your team leader remember you? No, no. Your manager, did they remember you? Oh. Is it right? Yes or no? No one remember us. Worker is like worker.
Share the GitHub URL in chat. Repository, which repository? Spring Cloud, Spring Docker, Dedicate.
Yeah, I will send you. This deployment.yaml. And all of you, just give me 1 minute. Forget to get my water bottles.
I have deployed it and it says that it is ready and up to date.
Ramanathan, could you please ping that command to deploy that YAML file?
Yeah, that is already there. Kubectl get deploy. Spring people training has already done that. 1 minute, I'm pinging it again.
Okay. Okay, so with that, it will pick the deployment.yaml file automatically.
Yeah, you will have to apply that kubectl command first for that using
Okay.
that deployment YAML file. Then you need to run this kubectl get deploy command.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely.
Once you deploy it, just give a command kubectl get deploy. It will show you. Is it showing?
Yes, it is showing up.
For me, it's saying that no deployment is present in a default namespace.
Did you apply it? That YAML file?
Yeah, now it's showing.
It takes time, a little bit time, because it download the image from hub.docker.com. I have shared site. Done, all of you? Is everyone done or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me explain you
Yeah.
about this. So what we have done is we have created and deployment. So when I run this, it invokes that deployment API. It invokes that deployment API. We have created a deployment with metadata dot name, and the name of the deployment is nginx-deployment. Okay. The job of this deployment is it will create 3 replica pod, which is indicated by dot specification replicas. Okay. Now this specification replicas, how they will find which pod it need to look for. Like I deploy 3 pod. Okay, I deployed 3 pod. Now this 3 pod should be inside the deployment. Like this is your deployment called as nginx deployment. The name of the deployment is nginx deployment, and inside that I have defined 3 pods. Okay. Now how this deployment is going to map all these 3 pods, that all these 3 pods are related to this particular deployment. We use something called as what? How they are going to manage this pod? Like how my deployment is going to manage this pod? Tell me.
So you said Kubernetes will look into that mechanism, right?
I define in my deployment, I have defined a label called as app nginx. Is it right?
Right.
And I have used this. This is something called as match expression. All the pods are going to be deployed with something called as app nginx. Is it right? All the pod naming convention will be inside nginx deployment. I have defined a label called as app nginx. You can define your name nginx, whatever you want it, like web nginx. Like here I put web. It's not that specific that you have to put app. Anything you can put it. It is like key value you have defined, and use that key value using, like, once it deploys 3 replicas of my pod. Okay, all the pod will have a label of app nginx. Okay, in templates, this is till here it will create a deployment called as Nginx deployment. In that Nginx deployment, I have defined the name of the deployment and a label I have defined. Okay. Then it will create 3 replicas, but I have given a match expression that all these 3 replicas should be having a naming convention of app Nginx. And in template also, once the container are being deployed, they will have a app Nginx as a container name. Okay. So specification spec dot, we have defined selector also, dot match labels, they are correlated. Okay, it is a map, or in simple term, key value pairs. Okay, so it is like a single value, single key value in the match labels or you can say map, which is equivalent to your match expression. Understand? So what happens is that once you deploy this deployment, all the pod, okay, all the pod are labeled as app Nginx using that metadata. In the metadata, I have defined a labels. Okay. Then we have defined pod template specification, where I have defined that it should launch a container of Nginx 1.14.2. Okay. So now if I type kubectl get deployment, you can see that this is the name of the deployment, how many are ready, how many are updated, how many are being available. Okay. If you want to go more deep dive, kubectl get pods -- show will do labels and maybe ENS. If I give a command kubectl get pod -- show label, you can see that there are 3 pods which is running, okay, with a deployment name. Okay, but all these 3 pod has a label of app equal to Nginx. Okay, but how this pod are being unique from each other, you can see that there is a hash value, pod template hash value, which has been added. Okay, there is a pod template hash value. Okay, like kubectl get rs replica set. So if you do kubectl get rs, replica set will be 1. Okay, so this is the deployment name. This is the replica set. The job of replica set is to deploy this pod 3 times. Then if I do kubectl get pod, this is the name of the deployment. This is the replica set number, hash value, and this is the pod hash value. So all these 3 pod are being correlated like this. And don't make changes on this. Let Kubernetes handle the replica set numbering convention and pod template, pod numbering. This is pod template hash. This is the seed which has been created by Kubernetes. In simple term, you can say that the pod template hyphen hash label is added by that deployment API or controller to every replica set that a deployment created. Just do kubectl get rs and get pod, and you can see the correlationship between. First do kubectl get deployment or deploy, then do kubectl get rs, then do kubectl get pod. You will find the correlation between all these 3 commands. Just do till here, you will understand. Tell me how they are, all these 3 pod is being mapped with your deployment API of deployment controller. Deployment is singular, replica set is singular, pod is multiple.
To which namespace did this deployment go to?
When we do not provide any namespace, it goes to the default namespace, and otherwise kubectl get deploy icon namespace you need to provide. Okay.
Okay.
We are using that default namespace.
Gopal, I can see 3 pods replicas that is created. If I do a Docker PS, those 3 parts also should get reflected over there, right?
Go to the worker node and check it. Master node, only master component will run.
Okay. So these replicas will be placed in the worker node?
Yes, yes. Everything will be in the worker node. Any custom application I am deploying it on Kubernetes goes to the worker node.
Okay. Okay, I see them in the worker node.
Yes, yes. All custom pod will run on worker node only. Done all of you till here? Any doubt?
So I have one small query. So yesterday we created pods defining the limits, right? So in this deployment method also we can include that limits and
Yes,
while
yes.
creating
You can define. In
same thing.
template, you can define. Same thing you can define.
Sure.
The quota limit, you can define it there also.
Okay.
At last, can you show one any one application in Kubernetes from the starting to ending? That will give
I will show you
a proper idea.
three-tier application. I have it. I will show it.
Okay.
Three-tier application. I have it with an Nginx, not Nginx, React.js, Node.js, and MySQL Those three things we will use it. And Redis also. After this, we will work on that.
Do we get any videos of viewers to see deep dive on this Kubernetes?
Can you come again?
No, do you have any videos of your lectures deep dive of Kubernetes or anything?
Yeah,
So
I have it.
to see that later. Yeah.
This is
it
also
one
recording
later.
class. All this class is getting recorded.
Yeah, but already we have seen this. Maybe you explain with another example or something.
Yeah, I have recording for Istio. Then I have recording for dynamic volumes also. Those are Valerio also. Helm chart also.
Maybe if you share that, that will help.
Yeah, I will definitely share it in my GitHub link. No need to worry.
Okay, okay.
But those are advanced topic like Helm chart, Istio, then dynamic volume.
Actually, I'm part of village engineering, so I don't know about the Helm charts, but sometimes we are deploying that Helm chart into the artifact. So I'm not aware of that actually. What is Helm chart?
It's like I want to. Okay, let's finish this deployment and let's read our architecture. In afternoon,
maybe
we have plenty of time. Helm chart and this thing, Helm chart and those advanced topic I will cover. Try to cover as much as possible after the lunch break.
If you share video link, that's also fine to us to see that. Okay.
Yeah. Helm chart is like a deployment module in Kubernetes. Like I create a project, full-fledged project, okay, with front and back end, and that same project need to be deployed in multiple places. You can do it. You can update the Helm chart anytime. Like it is similar to like I want to install yum install. I do HTTPD. You can see that there are so many dependencies related to your Apache servers, which comes automatically. Okay. So using Helm chart, you can build a deployment module in Kubernetes. Okay. I'll show you some example on that. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, Gopal. Thank you.
Gopal, but these videos, are you sending it in email to all, or just you have the project on GitHub that we can have a link and then can?
I'll share it with the GitHub link.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't have the Gmail account of every one of you. I will share it with GitHub.
Yeah, that GitHub is good actually.
Along with the text, right? All the text which you used yesterday and the day before.
Which one?
The PowerPoint text which you used for explaining.
Everything Kubernetes is there in the GitHub link I have yesterday used.
Okay.
There is this Society Chennai GitHub link. You have this is a public repository, okay? Like if you want to install CouchDB, there is a Kubernetes PPT is also there, Docker PPT is also there, okay? There are some books also available for Docker and Kubernetes. How to do probes, okay? If you want to deploy a stateful app, how you can do tinted pods.
Okay, and this access we will have like throughout, right? It won't be for 1 week. You won't work access. Okay, sure, thanks.
This is a public repository. Just you can, if you have your own personal GitHub, just merge it, or you can download the whole file. Okay.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.